In 2004, when South Dakota began searching for a solution for the increasing jail and prison population problem, the newly elected Attorney General Long was appointed by the governor to a task force charged with examining incarceration rates in South Dakota. Long knew that alcohol misuse and drug-related offenses have been driving the criminal justice system.
On average, 1 out of 3, and slightly more than 1 out of 3, felony convictions in this state are the direct result of a drunk behind the wheel of a car. That's how dominant alcoholism is in our system. If we could eliminate alcoholism, we would eliminate 1/3 of the felony convictions in this state immediately.
Felony DUI offenses and felony drug offenses combined accounted for approximately 60% of the total felony convictions in South Dakota between 1996 and 2007. 15% of the state prison population were DUI offenders, and a significant percentage of prison inmates had alcohol or drug misuse issues. 87% of men and 91% of women sentenced to the South Dakota State Penitentiary suffered from an alcohol and/or illegal drug dependency. Long also recognized that although judges frequently required repeat offenders to abstain from the use of alcohol as a condition of probation, no effective program existed to ensure compliance. So Attorney General Long suggested that a 24/7-like program that he developed for Bennett County in 1974 when he was state's attorney be implemented as a pilot project in 5 counties in South Dakota.
I was the local prosecutor in Bennett County. I observed as a rookie prosecutor that we dealt with the same people time after time after time. And their crime might be different. It might be DUI one day and petty theft the next day and spouse abuse the next day. But there was one thing in common among all the defendants, and that was they were usually intoxicated at the time they did whatever it was they did that got them into trouble. And our jail was full. And the sheriff and I concluded the only way we could keep people sober was to lock them up. So we set upon this idea of testing them twice a day, and we discovered that we could keep people sober for sometimes several months at a time just by doing what we had promised them we would do, is letting them go if they tested clean and putting them in jail if they didn't.
He convinced circuit court judges in those counties to require, as a condition of bond, that defendants totally abstain from the consumption of alcohol.
What they began to discover when they started doing it was, it works pretty good. And then what happened was they started to talk to each other about it. They started to talk to other sheriffs and started to talk to other judges. And that's when it started to catch on.
Over time, judges began to expand the program by utilizing it for other offenses, like domestic violence cases and drug offenses. In 2007, the state legislature unanimously approved the formal creation of the statewide 24/7 sobriety project. The statutes charge the Attorney General with the responsibility to coordinate efforts among various state and local government entities for the purpose of finding and implementing alternatives to incarceration for certain DUI and other offenses involving alcohol, marijuana, or controlled substances. Authority was given to courts, the Department of Corrections, and the Board of Pardons and Paroles to utilize the program in a variety of ways. The 24/7 Sobriety Project has also become an important tool with the Department of Social Services as a strong reinforcement for treatment and a powerful tracking tool. The South Dakota 24/7 Sobriety Project is designed as a defendant pay model, meaning that the participant pays all associated costs and expenses of the program with minimal cost to the taxpayer. The statutes in South Dakota permitted the courts to utilize the 24/7 Sobriety Project as a condition of bond or pretrial release on a person's successful participation in the 24/7 Sobriety Project and payment of associated costs and expenses. As a condition of the granting of a suspended imposition of sentence, suspended execution of sentence, or probation upon successful participation in the 24/7 Sobriety Project, and payment of associated costs and expenses. And as a requirement of parents of abused or neglected children to participate in the 24/7 Sobriety Project as a condition for the children to be placed back at home. They also authorize the Board of Pardons and Paroles, the Department of Corrections, or any parole agent to condition parole upon successful participation in the 24/7 sobriety project and payment of associated costs and expenses. With the South Dakota Solution created, specifics need to be addressed. We'll examine the specifics in the twice daily testing section.